Welcome to the Craig Mostyn Group 15-minute learning, IT training designed for the Craig Mostyn Group by Times. This course is the first in a series of Excel courses. This one will deal with organising your data so that you will be allowed to do simple analysis, and we will include looking at how to use pivot tables. So, Excel series number 1, organising data. In order for us to be able to analyse the data in a spreadsheet, we have to organise it in the right way. We cannot have information buried in with other information or have subtotals and pretty printing sheets that will stop us from organising the data. So we will plan our worksheets so we can enter data in a pure and simple way, and then other worksheets that will work off of that to provide the views of the data we want. We'll look at some simple filtering and how easy that is if we've organised our data properly. We'll also look at the sorting feature, subtotals, and spend some time looking at pivot tables and simple options that Office 2013 offers us for creating pivot tables. And also coming back to how we report our information so we store it correctly. Then elsewhere in the workbook, we create our sheets to report on it, but we don't mix our data with the reporting. Here we have an example of a poorly written spreadsheet. This type of sheet is typical. We see that in every company, and they're normally written so that they look pretty and print out nicely. Unfortunately, what they do is hide the data from the analytics that you have in Excel. For example, across the top, we have merged fields. That one is merged, this one is merged, cats is merged, and dogs is merged. What that does is prevents us using standard filtering and sorting. So if I click on filter, you see the first one I get will sort all of these things together, which isn't what we want from a filter. It does its best. It can filter these columns because they're not part of that first merged cell, but it isn't what we want. Similarly, if we try and sort, we can try and say my data has headers, but it hasn't. It's going to choose the headers up here. So you see all I get is animal register. If I don't say that, I can say sort by columns, and immediately I get an error message that tells me that I have merged cells of different sizes, so that won't work. The other main issues with this is we've got some of the data embedded in the same fields. For instance, in this field, we have fur colour and eye colour embedded in the same column. In here we have weight and hair type embedded in the same column. In here we have road address and town or city embedded in the same column. So if we just wanted to find out how many owners lived in Fremantle, it's far harder to do. So how should we organise our data? What should this type of data look like? Well, here's a good example. You can see we've got rid of the headings on the top and we've separated the fields such as eye colour, hair, weight, etc., fur colour, and so on. We've also got rid of the merged cell categories we had across the top and the middle before. So instead of having cat and all the cats beneath it and then a dog and all the dogs beneath it, we've created a type, and within that we've put the cat or the dog. Now we have a major difference. Now under the data tab we can say filter, and immediately all of the filters come on. We can just say let's filter by town. I'm going to see what we've got for Fremantle, and immediately I've got a sort. Now be aware when you do filtering that the drop down arrow changes to a filter sign, and when that's on, that's your indicator that it's filtered the data and you're not seeing all the information on a sheet. So we go back to select all here, and I can say things like fees to date. Let's find sort largest to smallest. Very simple. Smallest to largest. If we had colours in the cells, we could sort by colour. Many things that we can do. Another thing we're able to do, now that we've organised our data in the correct manner, is have a look at subtotals. So we've got a selection of information here. We've got some costs, weight, that type of thing. We might want to get some subtotals of those. I can click on subtotal, select the range first. So we'll select the range, click on subtotal, and let's say we want a subtotal on type, which is here. So subtotal for cat, subtotal for dog, and we're going to select the annual insurance like that. Select OK, and you can see that the cat total for annual insurance is there, the dog total is there, and we have a grand total for annual insurance. Simple as that. Take it away, do a different one, have a different type of report. This time we'll have type again, and we're going to add their fees to date and annual insurance. And then you can see for a cat, we've got a subtotal of annual insurance and fees to date, dog, and grand total. So simply using the subtotal function, we can get totals without having to write formulas and change our data. And down the left-hand side, we've got the levels of subtotaling we've got. So if I click on 1, I get my grand total. If I click on 2, I just get the cat, dog, and grand total. And if I click on 3, I get the summary of the data provided. And so moving on, we're going to look at pivot tables. This is an area that most people shy away from because they don't understand how they work. Now in these newer versions of Office, this one Office 2013, it does a lot of the work for you. So let's find out what we can do with some simple pivot tables. So we go to the Insert tab, select our data again. If we had lots of it, we could just go along the top like that, select it, or click in the corner and select everything. Well, we've got a small amount, it's easy to see what we're doing. And you can see in the left-hand corner we've got pivot table or recommend pivot tables. That's an interesting one because that just starts you off one click. And here it's come up with a selection of recommended pivot tables. So Let's have a go at this one. Sum of fees to date, etc. So I'll select that, say OK. And the great thing about this is you see it's created a new sheet. I can rename that pivot for now so we know where it is. And you can see we've got this field selector over on the right hand side and a new piece of information here within the columns and rows. Now this has no effect on our data, it hasn't done anything to our data, that's still our main data, it just stays as it is. But our pivot now, interestingly, we can do some work with this. What I think is very useful is now that we can say recommend us a chart, and it immediately recommends a chart based on the information here. So I can say OK, show me that chart. It's got all sorts of things I can do. The selection similar to we saw in the filters earlier. But if I go over here and say, well, let's do this by location, suddenly our chart has changed. We've got location information in there. Take location away. How about owner? We've got owner information in there. Very powerful thing we can do with pivot tables. So don't be afraid of using pivot tables, and the best thing you can do is to get some data that you understand, make sure it's nice and clean like this, and all you need to do is select, insert, recommend pivot table. We'll choose a different one this time. Let's see what one lower down is. So we'll go for this one. It automatically creates a new tab, so again it's not affecting any of our data. We can add things in here as we go along, take them off again, insert a chart. See, all these things are just done for us. Put the chart over there, select owner. Immediately we've just got interactive dashboard style data. So please go away and play with this and see what you can do. See how effective this could be in analysing the data you have in simple spreadsheets. And finally, you might say, well, that's all very well, but I want to have nice looking reports. So we're going to have a look at a few different types of reports. I've made a sheet here called dog report that's just got some basic headings on. Obviously you can do whatever you want with those. I can go back to our data, pick my dog data, copy it, go back to dog report, right click and paste link, and it will link all the information. So if I change the raw data, this report will change. I can right click again, say paste special formats, takes all my formats with me. But any of these cells, you can see refer to where they come from. 2015 register is the name of the tab, and that's the cell within that tab. So that's a very simple dog report. Maybe I want to put a chart under that, highlight my data, insert a recommended chart. That one will do. Give it a name, dog. There we go, very simple dog report. Let's do a simple cat report. Copy our data, go into the cat report, paste the link, paste the format, highlight the data, insert chart. We'll have this one. There we are. Give it a title, 2 reports finished already. What about a bit of a dashboard? So we've got a blank sheet here. Can get rid of all those squares and everything so it looks tidy. I can go to my dog report, pick up my graph, right click and copy it, paste it into my dashboard, put it where I want it. Similar to the cat, right click, copy, go to my dashboard, paste in my cat. How about in pivot tables we made earlier? Let's grab one of those. Copy that. Paste. And pivot 2. Second one we made. Copy into dashboard. Paste with its formatting. Starting to look good. Click on any of the charts. Let's go and have a design change. We'll have that one looking like that. And then we'll copy that one. So right click, copy, paste, get a duplicate. But this time we want a pie chart. Here we can change the design again. We have a grey one. Change the design again. There's another black one there. Or maybe we'll have grey for dog, black for cat. Design, change. We'll have some little bars on that one. There we go. Now what happens if we change a value? So we've got a dashboard set up here. If we go back to our original data, and let's say spot has put on a lot of weight, so we'll change him, 1,000's a bit much, we'll change him to 100, go back to our dashboard, and let's copy the dog data, and we'll have a nice design change on that to a pie chart. So we can see that spot is now 100. All of the other charts will have been changed according to any of the changes that we make here. So if I change spot to 50, but Rex to 150, go back to my dashboard, there's the changes there immediately. So all of that took a few minutes to do just because we organised our data properly in the first place and used just the basic functions of Excel.